Okay, first, thank you for coming. I really appreciate your attendance. I'm happy to do this. So thank you. Okay, so do dogs eventually reincarnate into humans? According to my knowledge, which I am not saying that I have the truth on anything, everything I'm going to tell you is according to my experiences in the afterlife and my experiences with beings from other dimensions. So everything I'm telling you is based on that. So there might be many different types of truths. I'm going to give you my truth and my knowledge only. Okay? So you take what you need and you throw out the rest that you don't need. So according to my information, it's very rare that the incarnation comes as a form of a human being. They usually reincarnate as animals. That's according to my information. I know it doesn't go along certain traditions, but that's what I know. Yeah. Other questions?
Someone else have a question to ask?
I had a cat that died of cancer. And I was a bit selfish because I should have put her to sleep long before I did. I had her on IV fluids and given her pain medication, and it was very difficult for me to part with her. And so I've been trying to communicate with her to to tell her how sorry I am, that I should not have been so selfish. So that's where I'm getting at.
Sorry, make me cry. Okay.
Yes.
So first of all, you can't feel guilty. Sorry, made me emotional. So I apologize. So you can't feel guilty because you did the best you could, and it's done. It's the past. So you learn from every experience. You can absolutely, if you talk, if you speak in your mind, it's heard. Everything is heard. So they are the other dimension is not so far away. It's actually pretty close, and they can hear our thoughts. They can grasp our feelings, and just think that she's fine now. She's doing probably fantastic, probably way better than we're doing here on this planet. So don't worry. Just let her know that what you feel, that you regret, and just think beautiful thoughts, because that's probably what she would like to receive.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, the best thing that I've been able to do is, I've learned from that, and I've had 2 more cats since her passing, and so I'm trying to be the best mom and the most selfless mom that I can be.
Yes.
As a result of that experience.
Yes.
Thank you.
We can't always be the best. We do what we can. And it depends how we define the best. So we just, what we want to do is, because we're the ones who are taking care of their well-being, we want to make sure they have the right food, the right safety, the right security, and the right food. We do the best we can, all of us. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Galaxy A20 asks, do animals after they pass away move on by themselves or stay with us?
Yes. So from what I've heard, from my knowledge, when they pass away, they have guides, that they have their own specific guides that come to take them and to take care of them. So those guides are the ones who are going to help them get through different dimensions. It's a little bit different from human beings, but they do have their guides, and they do go, especially if they were sick or they had a traumatic death, they do go to a place that I would call like a clinic, if you want, in brackets, where they're taken care of, and where they are put back together. They all, like the etheric field is put back together. They're put back together, and then after that, they are going to reintegrate another level, another dimension, where there will be decisions that will be made where they're going to go, in which dimension they're going to go, and where they're going to experience something new. Hi, David.
Hey, Laila. Great to see you.
Nice to see you.
Ramesh Kumar asks, is there really a rainbow bridge? Will I connect with my animals after I too pass on?
Ramesh, how are you?
I am doing good.
How are you? Ramesh is calling you in India now?
Yeah.
Yes. Hello.
Good morning here.
Nice to hear you. Nice to hear your voice.
Here
So,
too.
so to the question, is there really a rainbow bridge? I'm not going to define it as a rainbow bridge. That's pretty romantic. But there is a passage to another dimension. And as with human beings, there's this beauty, you know, and I'm just speaking from experience, from what I've experienced, this beautiful light and this absolute beauty. And you could call it crystalline, and maybe that's why people said rainbow. So it's not an actual rainbow bridge. I think that's a poetic term that's used for the passage. Hi, Natalie. How are you? Recognizing people here.
Okay, we have a question. Virginie asks, if someone receives a sign of an animal who is over the rainbow, where does this sign come from? The animal himself, or the animal's guides, or our own guides send us the message that life continues after and death doesn't exist?
Yes, good question. Virginie, I know who Virginie is also. So yes, there's many different type of signs. So there are signs that you can get like at the beginning of the departure of an animal, where it's the animal is present in your field, his being, his spirit is present in your field. And at that moment, you're going to get direct signs. For example, you can get an object that can move, lights that go on and off. You could get like a book falls on the ground with specific information. You could smell. You could get a specific smell that's related to that animal. You could hear the meowing or the barking, for example, or you could get a feeling, like let's say you're lying down and you could get the feeling of the cat on the bed, moving around. So those are specific signs that are going to be the signs that are the ones of the spirit of the animal that is directly present in your field, and that will probably be staying there for a certain time. Then there's other types of signs. So I speak about all this in the book, Animals and the Afterlife, but it's not in English, unfortunately. It's only in French and Spanish and Italian for now. So I'll explain the best I can, but there's many other types of signs that can come from the animal, but it's not just the animal. It's like the whole group of beings that are there for you and to help you. And the animal is going to be connected to that group of beings because he's part of the love. And he's the one who opened up this whole dimension of love for you. So therefore, you could receive other kinds of signs. So those are the signs when, for example, people see things in the sky, or they receive an object, or they see a name somewhere that corresponds to something really specific, or a flower grows somewhere that would have never grown in that specific place. You know, those type of other types of signs, a bit more esoteric, if I would say. So those signs would be connected through the animal, but will be connected to the group of beings that are there to help you and to guide you. Yes?
So Bobby asks again, during the home euthanasia process, how long is the transition process? I want to stay with her body for as long as she is viewing to comfort her.
So you mean the departure of the actual physical body? Can you give me the question again?
Bobby, can you clarify?
Bobby?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I had mute on. I'm getting ready to do the home in euthanasia, and I believe like everyone talks about a time where they rise up and they're viewing their own body. How long is that transition period? Because I want to be sure to stay with her.
Yeah.
Throughout that time.
Yes. So once the euthanasia is done, it depends on the how far gone is the spirit from the body. So some animals it's not that they hold on to the physical form. It's just that if the guardian, I'm going to say the guardian, which would be you, is very attached to them and to the physical form, then they might hold on, the spirit until we get to the euthanasia point, might be holding on more strongly, more powerfully to that physical form. If the animal is very ill and is really ready to leave, and the guardian, which is you, has reached a certain amount of peace, then the spirit could be half gone from the physical form. could be partly gone. So you see, it depends on the situation. Now, when the euthanasia is done, when this is from what I know, not necessarily the whole truth. Once the shot is given and the spirit separates from the body, the spirit goes a bit above. So I've witnessed it. I've actually seen the spirit. I've seen it with a donkey, and I've seen the spirit go up. I've seen it with a dog too. It's pretty fascinating. I see it go up, and they are going to stay in your field, also depending on what's going on for you. So if the person has a lot of grief, if the person can't let go, if the person is going to completely collapse because the animal has left, then they might stay longer in your field, you know.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome, dear.
Yes.
We have a question here that seems like it might relate to the previous question about the guides visiting us. So Radhika asks, do animals visit us after they pass on in a soul form?
Yes. So yes, they can visit us in soul form. But usually what you're going to usually get, Radhika, is that you're going to basically more around approximately between 1 and 3 weeks. That's from what I gathered from all the deceased animals that I've worked with. They stay around, they stay in your energy field, and they accompany you. And then after that, they do have to go to another dimension. And when they go to that other dimension after that, it does take more energy to come back here to give signs. But many people still they can feel their presence, they can get signs, they can get things happening. Some people really get incredible things. I mean, really incredible things that it leaves them like, wow. And people, sometimes people who are very skeptical. But for all that to happen, it does take more energy from the essence to do that. So it all depends on what is needed. Sometimes it's linked to the evolution of the human being and of the animal. It's needed for their path, to have access to that spirit in the afterlife, to be aware of other dimensions, of the existence of other dimensions. Sometimes it's because the human being is in so much distress and grief that they need a little, pickup. So it depends on the situations, and it depends on the type of relationship that person has with that soul.
Mm-hmm. Natalie asks, can cats really see entities that we do not see? And does that mean that cats are operating on a higher frequency than us?
Yes. Okay, so I really do believe that cats can see other entities. I wouldn't necessarily say a higher frequency, because I have no idea how to determine higher or lower frequency, because we don't know anything, basically. We don't know. We have no idea what's higher and what's lower. But they definitely have access, but not just cats. Dogs also. It's just that cats, you see them staring in a corner, so you're thinking, oh, well, he's seeing an entity, and we're pretty convinced of that. But dogs too, because I've had specific, visitations, in brackets, and then I was told, wow, the dogs were barking, they were aware of it, they knew what was going on. That happened a long time ago. And so they are aware, dogs are also aware of those visitations of other beings or spirit form, that we can't necessarily perceive unless you're a medium or born medium. Yeah.
Okay.
Radhika asks, can deceased pets send their messenger to be with their humans?
Can deceased pets send a message?
Send their messenger. Can you clarify?
Yes. Clarify?
Or send a message? Or a messenger?
Can they send a messenger?
Different animals.
Okay, so yes, so I do talk about that in that books that's not in English. You can like cross or meet other animals that are not necessarily linked to the deceased animal, but the essence of the deceased animal has gathered enough energy to transmit something to that animal that is going to cross your path. So that happens pretty often with white animals. And in the book, I call them aumakua, based on the Hawaiian tradition. And so many times people have lost an animal, and then like within a week or 3 weeks, they're going to cross maybe exactly the same type of animal, but white, for example. And that's just a message. So that's one aspect. Then you can have another thing that I've noticed that happens quite often and is extremely interesting. And people have always asked me the same question. They ask me, could it be that my animal has come in, my deceased animal has come into the body of a present animal or a newly adopted animal, like a walk-in, in brackets. So I always say, no, that's not going to happen. It doesn't work that way. But what's very interesting is that what can happen is that the essence of the animal, basically his spirit energy, sometimes can access the animal that's already there, which means that you're going to have a behavior that is going to take you by surprise, where he could have exactly the same behavior all of a sudden of your deceased pet. Or he can take an action that is exactly the same one of a deceased pet. Or he can go towards an area that your deceased pet knew or went to, but it's not a reincarnation, and it's not like a walk-in. For example, I had the case of a lady, and she adopted a dog, a dog. So there was no way that dog had the same age. It wasn't a reincarnation. And the dog went straight to the picture of the other dog. I had another case where the dog went straight to the area where the other dog used to lie down. Things like that. Things that make a feeling of awe, in the heart of the person, like, oh, wow, like something that's, you can't say it's a chance or a coincidence. So that would be a way that, yes, you could get messages through others in that sense. But it's very difficult to verify. Okay.
Marissa asks, I have the feeling that my dog is a reincarnation of a dog I had to euthanize 7 years ago. Is there any way I can know if this is true?
Yeah. Well, basically, you're not really going to know. Sorry. It's hard to know. There can be incarnations, especially if something's not finished. But sometimes something's not finished just because it's not finished, or you think it's not finished and it really is finished. Many accidents, things like that, they're not real accidents and they're meant to go. So whatever we consider as not finished might not necessarily be what we think. Okay, that's one aspect. The thing about the incarnation is it's very difficult to know if it's really that. There is a certain type of situations where one can really recognize that being, and that means you would probably have a very powerful experience where all of a sudden you would get this ah moment, in the eyes, or this intense love, or something would happen that you would say, I know this is the same being. But you also have to take into account that many times it's not the exact reincarnation. It can also be from the same group of beings, from a similar tribe, in brackets, of beings, and therefore they have similar qualities and similar aspects. Yeah.
Torben asks, is it different to communicate with past animals than with live ones?
Is it different to communicate with past, you mean in dead?
Like
yes.
Deceased, yeah.
Okay, so my belief is that to do past animals, you have to have some mediumistic abilities, whereas live animals, I teach it all the time. I teach animal communication. People get results. Everyone can do it. You have to just really go for it and practice it and all that. Deceased animals, I don't really believe in teaching it because, according to my experience, and I'm not saying that it's not possible, but it's something that comes to you. It's a calling. So in my case particularly, I started seeing dead animals around people, and all these incredible experiences started happening. And that's why I wrote the book, because it was based on real life experiences. So it's hard to say, I think you really have to have the abilities. It's a certain calling. Also, it's not very amusing, I do it to help people out, but I can't say that it's not really amusing to do. It's tough, There was someone who wrote in French. Be able to read it? No. Oh, I can't see it. Oh, in the chats. Wait, I feel bad. Okay, so let me take the French one. I'll translate it for you. Je travaille dans les cliniques vétérinaires. Beaucoup font des euthanasies. Okay, so I work in a veterinary vet clinic, and many people do non-assisted euthanasias. I'm wondering if animals knew it while they're on the way to the vet, and do they know it's their last moment while they're on the way to the vet? Sorry, I'm translating. If yes, how can we tell the guardians about this important moment? And on our side, how can we tell the vet to improve on the energy and make the moment more reassuring? Okay, well, okay. I hope you understand French because I don't know who you are. I'm just seeing pixels, so I don't know who that is. Okay, that's a long process of learning and understanding. Animals usually, when they're on their way to euthanasia, they absolutely do know it. They know, they completely get it. I've done a lot of cases of horses that are on their way to the abattoir, slaughterhouse, unfortunately,
Yeah.
and they are completely aware of what's going to happen. I have had dogs, the animals on their way to the vet, they absolutely know that they're on the way to the vet for that. Most cases, they know it, they're aware of it. The difference is that animals, they usually, if they are ready to go, they accept the moment of departure. It depends if they're ready. Sometimes if they're not ready to go, then no. There's going to be resistance. But if they're very ill or they're at the end and they're ready to go, they're going to accept it and they're aware that they're going. Absolutely. So the question here in French is, it's really important for vets to learn all these things. And that's why I started teaching vets. I started working in the veterinarian university in Madrid. That was the first time I did that. And I think it's something really important to do. And I'm really hoping we can do more of that. Yeah.
Galaxy 820 again asks, if you feel the presence of your deceased pet around the house and you have to move to a new house, do they follow or do they become stuck there, held by their memories in that house?
Okay, no, usually they're going to follow you. So animals are much less bound to be stuck as human beings because they're not as much bound by places, even if they're territorial in life. They can be hyper-territorial, establishing territorial situations with other dogs, other cats, for example. But once they separate from the physical body, they're much less attached to places and to the physical forms than human beings. So no, in that case, they would be around you, but for a certain amount of time. I mean, they're just not going to be there all the, you see, you have to think about it that they're leaving and they're going to experience other things. So it's as if you have a child who's going to another country and that child is going to go live and experience other things. You know, they have to follow their own evolution. Okay.
Galaxy S7 asks, my friend just had to put down her 22-year-old cat. She's wondering if her cat knows how much she was loved.
Yes, animals, they always know. I mean, the love is something that doesn't need words. You know, it's what I call the golden thread, and it's there between you and their soul, and that's the reason why you find them again when you leave. So when you leave to the other side, if there was a very strong link of powerful love between you and that soul, that animal soul, of course you will find them again. And even if they have reincarnated, it doesn't matter because time here is not the same as time over there. Because time here, what could be years over here, can be just seconds over there. Therefore, yes. Yes.
So Bobby asks again, I will be devastated when my dog passes, but I don't want my emotional state to cause her guilt or in any way delay her moving on. How long do I need to be strong so she doesn't feel bad about leaving?
You don't have to be strong. It's just no point trying to be strong when you're not. I mean, even when we know, I've experienced so much from the other side, and if an animal of mine goes, I am in absolute distress. You know, we're allowed to cry, we're allowed to feel grief. It's just a process, it's just natural. So you don't have to be strong. But what you do have to know is to know that they are fine on the other side. That's what's the most important thing to know, that they are going to be fine, they're going to be happy, and they want you to be happy. They want you to be well. But it doesn't mean that you have to cut your grief process or feel any form of guilt about not, cutting your grief process. It's okay,
Victoria Vic asks, please tell us why the cat in your documentary always visited the gravesite of his deceased owner.
Yes.
I love the documentary and wanted to know why he visited his owner.
Yeah, well, that was the most, for me, that was one of the most beautiful experiences I had. That's why I insisted on having that section in the documentary, because this is a little side story, but the production didn't have enough money to go to Italy. And so I said, no, we have to go. I want to do this cat, because to me, he was the heart of the movie, because of the soul, the beautiful story. And so we had a lot of obstacles, because they didn't want us to film, because the sons of the woman, she didn't want us to, of the wife, of the widow, they didn't want us to film anything. That's why we couldn't film the lady, which I spoke to in Italian, believe it or not, my bad Italian. I spoke to her at length, but we weren't able to reveal any of that in the film. So the beautiful story of this cat, which we weren't able to show everything, is that he went, no matter what the weather was, if it could, because it was up in the mountains, so there would be snow, heat in summer, every single day he would go and bring a gift to the graveyard, every single day. And the reason why he limps at the end of the movie, when you see the end of the movie and you see him walking off and you see him limping, is because of superstition. People used to throw stones at him because he was going to a graveyard. So they thought, superstitious stuff. So the reason why he went to bring those gifts is out of gratitude, because the man saved his life when he was very small. The man saved his life, and he was very attached to that man, and that man died suddenly. And so he knew the man was the man is not in the cemetery anymore. His being is elsewhere. But out of gratitude, he goes and he gives the gifts. It's very, very beautiful. It was just very touching. And there's a lot of stories like that, other stories elsewhere in the world. Yeah.
Okay, do animals tell us when they are about to leave? How do they communicate that with us?
Yes. So usually when animals are about to leave, they usually do say goodbye. And it's up to us. I know it's difficult for us because, first of all, many of us don't have the degree of perception to grasp that goodbye, or we're in so much fear or anxiety or worry that we're not able to grasp that. But they do say goodbye. So some animals, there's an action where the person says, I know he said goodbye at that day. That day when he looked at me like that, I know that was goodbye. For some people, it's like that. For other people, it could be an information that's going to come in your dream. And from other people, it won't be a dream. There will be some other kind of dimension where you will know that information. But a lot of people have dreamt beforehand. A lot of people know beforehand. And because the animal does say goodbye. He knows he's going. They have consciousness.
Okay, so you just touched on that a little bit, but someone did ask if animals do come to us in our dreams.
Yes. So yes, animals do come to us in our dreams. Absolutely. Many people receive the sign of a deceased animal in their dream world. Why in the dreams? Because it's much easier for the animal to give you information, because your mind, your logical mind is like stopped. Your monkey mind, your logical mind, whatever mind that we're always using is calmed down, is stopped. So it's much easier for the animal to give an information in a dream or to come through. Of course, dreams can be mixed. You can really have a dream that's a real encounter, like in an astral trip. Other ones are information that are going to be conveyed in a dream format, and other dreams will be mixed with other things. They could be mixed with fear, things like that of your own.
Okay, Natalie asks, We say that we have a soul family or spirit family. Can a pet be from the same spirit family as us?
Yes, I do think, I really do think that certain, now there's there's different type. Okay, this is not very scientific, but this is according to what I've seen. There's like doggy, 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 catty, catty, horsey, horsey, birdie, birdie, that that's what they are, okay? Can they be linked to, and they're always all going to be linked to a certain extent to our own evolution. So it means they are going to be linked to our soul family. Are they exactly part of that soul family? I wouldn't be able to say. I wouldn't be able to say. But there are other type of animals, and it's not to say higher or lower, better frequency, none of that. I'm not saying any of that. There are other type of animals that have a very strong, powerful role in our evolution and in the survival of a human being. And I've seen it. I've done this for 20 years, and I've seen so many cases where really people say, I would have never survived if it hadn't been for my cat or it hadn't been for my dog, or the animal leads them to some form of spiritual opening, very powerful change of life or spiritual opening, whether it's within the lifetime of the animal or whether it's within the death, through the death of the animal. And some animals can live very short amount of time, but they have a very strong impact on the life of that human being. So those would be animals that would be more connected to the soul group. And it doesn't mean necessarily that they are the soul group, but they are connected. Because you have to think that up there, there's many groups, and they're together to help you. They're together to help you. Okay, and they can come in different forms.
Okay, Ramesh asks, my dog Luna passed away last year. Will she be upset if I adopted another dog? To me, it seems like a betrayal of her love.
No, Ramesh, you can perfectly adopt someone else. I had the honor of knowing Luna, so I'm saying this out of, you can perfectly adopt another dog. On the contrary, she'll be happy for you. Don't worry. Okay.
Radhika asks, every animal comes with a purpose. What if an animal dies without completing their purpose with us? Will they continue their purpose with us in our next lifetime?
It could be, but it's very difficult for us to know exactly if they finish their purpose or not. Because you see, that's why there are certain animals that can have very short lives. Some animals is like 4 or 5 months. Others can be just a few years. And we're like, because there's an accident happened, there was a mistake in a diagnosis. And we experience this as an accident, as something that's too soon. But maybe it isn't within the big frame of things. So we don't really know. And we don't really know what the real purpose was. Maybe that purpose was already done. It's difficult to know. But if it were to be the case, yes, they would be able to come back, probably. Maybe not in this dimension. It could also be in another dimension. Okay.
Why are birds so difficult to communicate with?
Well, it's just different. It's just a matter, they're not really so difficult to communicate with. They're just different. It's just another, they're not as domesticated as dogs and cats and horses. So they're less close to the human emotions in that sense. So it might feel that it's more difficult, but it shouldn't be. Yeah, because this fell. Yeah, it shouldn't be more difficult to communicate. It shouldn't be. I was saying they're less domesticated in a sense than dogs, cats, and horses. So in that sense, it would be less close to human emotion. So you might think that it's more difficult. Isn't really.
Okay, here's a bit of a long one from Wendy.
Yes.
I think I connected to my childhood dog who passed long ago. I'm still learning though, a very beginner. I thought she said she was reincarnated as an eagle now. I thought she was going to visit to validate us connecting, but I think maybe I confused it with saying I'd get an eagle as a sign to confirm it was her. I got a card with one on it within the time specified, didn't see a live one. Do they reincarnate as any animal at any time? And is there an amount of time before they do? Can they communicate still if reincarnated already?
Oh, well, there's a lot of information here. Okay, so let's take the beginning with the eagle. Most probably, she would not have reincarnated. I mean, I could be wrong, I'm just saying what I know. So most probably she would not be reincarnated as an eagle, but you can receive a message from an eagle. So depending on some people who are very connected to animals, they can get a lot of information or signs from wild animals that come into their life. And possibly an animal from another realm to transmit a message to you could make it pass through another form, like in this case, that would be the eagle. It looks more like this has to do with a sign. It looks more like it would be that. And that's why you got the card, because at least you got your sign. Doesn't matter if you didn't see a real eagle, at least you got your sign, which is great. Okay? So about the time of the reincarnation, that would be extremely difficult to specify because time is not the same. So what is years over here would be seconds over there. So it's really, really difficult to give a timing for reincarnation. It could be on another dimension, in another lifetime. It can be many different things. Can they communicate still if reincarnated already? Let's say they would have reincarnated already on this dimension. Then you could still receive a certain form of communication from the spirit groups. You could. And that's why when I do deceased animals for people, I say 5 years max. I don't go back. I don't want to go back further in time. Okay?
Okay, I'm going to have Torben ask a question because I couldn't really understand the question. So I'm going to unmute her now and
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Hello, Laila.
Hello, how
sorry,
are you,
yes.
Torben?
I'm great, thank you. It's like 2 a.m. here, that's why
I
I'm
know,
having
I'm like, why? How come you're
difficulty
calling?
being clear in my question.
Thank you.
I sometimes, I often see a white wolf in my dreams or in
Yes.
meditation. Could it be that this is a deceased animal, or would that be more my dog, maybe?
How was your dog? I forgot.
It's a white dog. He looks
A
like
white dog. It could be a mixture. It could be your dog that you experience as a wolf, because like with the imagery of like a bigger soul or more wild or more wisdom, whatever you would be associating with wolf. It can also be a form of guidance. So you can often get guidance from other dimensions that is going to take the form of an animal in a dream. Can often happen, or even not in dreams, even in real life.
Okay.
For example, in the case of the wolf, like I talk about that in the first book, my experience with the wolf, that would be guidance from another dimension. And the Wendy, who spoke about the eagle, for example, okay, you didn't see it, but that would be, it could take forms like that. So it could be both, Torben.
All right. Thank you so much, Laila.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Kathy asked about ashes earlier. Is it important where we put the ashes? And now she asks, will my parents' cats like it if I put their ashes near my parents' grave?
Okay. Personally, I don't think it's really important. I think the importance having to do with ashes has to do with you. So whatever has meaning for you, because their spirit is gone. Their spirit is gone. So it's rare, like human beings, they say, oh, I want my ashes in the Ganges River, things like that. Or I want to be buried under the family tree. They say things like that, human beings. So we try to like give them their last will, and do whatever they ask for. But with animals, it's not really like that. So the ashes, wherever you put the ashes, would be whatever has meaning for you and importance for you would work. Okay?
Bobby is asking, if a dog revisits their owner after they pass, should I keep her toys and bed where they are so she knows I haven't forgotten about her?
You don't have to. They know it. That's for you. It's for you to hold on to something physical, something material, the toy. But they connect with you in spirit. They don't need the toy. But I'm not. I mean, there's many kinds of rituals that I believe in. I like rituals. I mean, rituals they help you. They help you to connect. So someone's going to light a candle and incense. Another person is going to put a picture of Saint Francis of Assisi. Another person is going to have the toy and keep it in a special place. those are the rituals we do as human beings for memory and to keep us connected. They're not necessary, but they're perfectly fine. And some can be very beautiful, you know, or you go put the flowers, but they receive things, they see it. If you're going to put flowers somewhere, they know that you're putting flowers. They see it, you know? Yeah.
Okay, I have a question here. I'm not sure I understand fully. So for me, when my cat passed away, I had this strong feeling that I was running out of time and I felt something bad could happen to me. But a month later, I had a dream of my cat walking through a light portal, and that morning he passed away suddenly. After that, he tried coming back when I woke up next morning. He was there, I touched him, and he vanished. Was this his way to say he's okay?
Wait, let me see if I can read that over again.
It's a Galaxy A20.
It's where? Wait, I'm not quite clear.
Okay, maybe can you retype the question? Well, I'll ask another question now, and if we could get a clarification. So, Kathy's asking, I heard my cat's meow the morning after I had to put her down. I was wide awake. Is this possible?
Absolutely. That's completely possible. Those are the signs. Those are the type of signs. Those are the common type of signs people get. Okay, the saying, I'm fine, I'm here, I'm alive. They want to tell you that they're still alive, that their consciousness is alive. So you're going to perceive something. You're going to get the sound, the feeling, the smell, all those things. Those are the signs. Yes, I like the one. My cat used to bring me flowers every day. That's so cute. I used to get fruit. That's so cute. I love that. Yeah.
Virginie asking, for human beings who love animals, is it possible that after death, humans and animals are together?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you're definitely going to see each other again. You're definitely going to be with them at some point. Now, the you know, other dimensions is different. It's not the same notion of the notion of time is completely different. So yes, you're definitely going to reconnect with them. Whether you're going to like really be all the time in that same space and frequency with them, maybe not, because you might be experiencing other things, other extraordinary love experiences, you know, so maybe not full time, but yes. Mm-hmm.
Helen Berger is asking, if a client wants me to confirm for them whether their animal has passed, is there a sure way to know? And can an animal accidentally speak of another life during a session? That is, tell me something that is not true now, but was true in a different lifetime.
Yes. Wait, give me back the beginning of the sentence. First part.
If a client wants me to confirm for them whether their animal has passed, is there a sure way to know?
Yeah, it's okay. That's extremely difficult. So for people who do lost, if there are people here who are working with lost animals, it's extremely difficult to affirm that an animal is deceased or not deceased. Very difficult. So I used to do lost animals for years, and I know how difficult it is. And I've seen many people make mistakes. I've seen many people say, your cat is deceased, he's finished, he's gone. And then next week he shows up, meow, meow, all happy, you know. So the reason why is because, especially if there's a situation of shock or trauma, the spirit kind of separates a little bit from the physical form, and therefore when you connect, if you're not connecting deeply enough, you can feel that the animal is not there. So personally, my advice to you is I would not do that. I would not say ever, you know, you could say, I am not perceiving the vital energy of that animal, if you're not perceiving it, because then you're being truthful, but you're not affirming death. And also it's very difficult to affirm that because you don't know how the person is going to cause a lot of distress. Okay. And what was the second part of the question?
It was if the animal can accidentally speak of another lifetime during the session, tell you something that is true in another lifetime, but not in this lifetime.
Okay, so it doesn't mean that I don't believe in lifetimes. Of course, I believe in lifetimes, but that's something I never, ever go into, because to me, it doesn't have the meaning. It's not like human beings who do past life hypnosis and who experience things that can maybe help them with certain amount of traumas, whether they're accessing a real past life or unconscious, collective unconscious, we really will never know. Okay. based on the writings, for example, of Dr. Weiss and all of that. But for an animal, I would never do that because you can't validate that. So I find that there's just no point. So as far as animal communication is concerned, my philosophy, at least when I teach and people who study in my school and who want to be certified, we do not go at all into past lives because we want to know, for example, what is the relationship of the animal with his environment, with his guardian, with the other animals around him, how he's feeling physically and emotionally. Those are the things that count. So I never go into past lives. And it doesn't mean I don't believe in them. I just personally choose not to do that because anyone could say anything and you can't validate it. And many times people, they flatter, they say, oh, your horse was your lover in your past life. You know, I've heard that one a lot. You can't validate that, you know?
She said she added right now, I was asking because my classmates sometimes say that the animals were talking of another lifetime.
Yeah, I would avoid that. But that's, again, that's my way of seeing it. It doesn't mean that I have the truth there, but I just don't believe in doing that. I feel it's not, I feel it lacks, sorry to say, but to me, okay, only to me, I'm not saying anything about anyone. There's a form, it lacks a certain ethics because we can't validate and we do not know. So we could perfectly well be flattering, and it's a way of getting out of things, you know? Okay, end of subject.
Bobby's asking, if dogs only reincarnate into another animal, is there a possibility that they will come back in less fortunate living conditions and endure a tragic or even worse, an abusive next life?
You know, I don't have the answer to that question, but I think it could be, because same as human beings, we experience different things for different reasons. I'm suspecting that animals also, it always has to do, in the end, it has to do for evolution. Animals also, they're subject to the experiences of life in this dimension for their own evolution. But I don't really have the real answer to that question. I'm sorry. I don't know enough. Yeah.
Okay, Kathy asks, I'm starting Reiki for animals.
Mm-hmm.
Do you suggest to do anything different than when doing Reiki for humans?
Okay, so I don't really know Reiki. I don't know how it works. So, I mean, I've known a lot of people who've done Reiki, but I have never experienced that myself. So I wouldn't be able to tell you. I would just say, trust your heart and trust your instinct, you know?
Yeah. Any other question? I don't know if I missed a question, but it seems like we don't have any questions right now. If anyone wants to ask. Okay, here's one. Wendy's asking, I physically feel animals quite often, I think are my own cats, jumping on the bed, brushing my legs, even clawing at my jeans, but I look to find no one there. It's happened enough now, combined with one of my cats reacting to nothing. I can see so often that now I am wondering, could animals be trying to use a human as a medium like human spirits?
Wait, I'm not really understanding. Oh, I can't understand what the real question is there. What's the actual, what do you want to know?
Wendy, do you want to clarify?
Wendy?
Do you want to ask vocally?
Wendy?
Okay, well,
Oh,
it's
hear me now?
okay.
I'm trying to.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Well, I was just wondering if, like, an animal spirit could be trying to use a human to, like, communicate to another human or their like past owner or something, kind of like spirit mediums say, or human mediums say that spirits will come to them and want messages to be delivered to certain people or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it's just a really weird thing.
It could happen. It could happen. I think it's going to be more rare than with human beings, but it could. Well, I'm not discarding that at all.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering because I'm learning to communicate, and so I was wondering if once I was able to, if that has ever happened to anybody. Like
Wait, I'm not hearing you properly.
animal
What?
spirits coming to them being like, hey,
Yes, I mean, some people can be like I told you. You can be if you have mediumistic abilities, then absolutely. When my mediumistic in brackets, you know, I don't like to give a name to anything, but I started seeing animals all over the place, dead animals. So it was really weird because I didn't have at all the courage to go around starting telling people, oh, do you have a cat, a dog that looked like this? And I eventually did, but it took me tons of courage to do that, especially in France. You can imagine, you know, I wasn't in LA when when all those things were happening. So, but it could happen. A person can absolutely be connected. What?
oh, that wasn't me. Someone was
Yeah, oh, it
unmuted.
wasn't you. Yeah, I'm saying that absolutely you could be receiving things, but it would usually be, it wouldn't be just like out of the blue. It would be somewhere where you would be in contact with that human being and the animal would be around and you would be perceiving the presence of that animal. That's what the way it would usually be.
Mm.
You
Well,
know?
my upstairs neighbor lost a cat. Trying to think if that's around the time it happened. Anyway, thank you so much. That helps.
You're welcome, Wendy. Yeah.
Okay, we have, let me find it. Barbara asks, how do wild animals feel when they've lost their life from human actions such as poison, hit by a car, etc.?
Well, I mean, at the moment, I don't really know exactly the whole answer to this, but at the moment of the departure, it's the same. They are under the shock of the departure. Let's say they're hit by a car. They're not going to stop being accusing human beings like we would like them to, you know, about the fact that they were hit by a car. They just pass into another dimension directly. And sometimes, let's say a deer, for example, is going to be hit by a car on the road. It could also be because that's the way of exiting the physical body and being able to go to another dimension. Somehow we have to exit the body somehow. And many times it can be an accident. The spirit has to leave somehow. It's not always necessarily by old age or illness. When the spirit is done, it's done. Other times it really is an accident. It depends. Yeah. But there's no judgment on human action. That's what I meant.
Victoria Vic asks, do the animals we eat, chickens, cows, pigs, etc., know that they are part of our food chain? Do they know their role as part of our existence?
Okay, so those type of questions I don't take because they're way too controversial, and it usually makes people fight. So there's vegans, vegetarians, and others that aren't. It's going to make people fight. Personally, now I'll just say one thing. When they are in places where they are going to be killed for food, they usually know it. They don't necessarily know that they're going to be killed for food, but they know that they're going to be killed. Some people say that animals come and sacrifice themselves so that we can eat. I don't believe in that. Personally, for me, it's not at all real that they do that. But they know it when they're ready to be killed. They absolutely know it. Yes. Okay.
So we have clarification on the earlier question from Galaxy A20. So she said, for a while before my cat passed away, I had this heavy feeling that something bad was going to happen. I felt I was running out of time. During that time, my cat seemed depressed and I couldn't understand why. 1 month passed, and one night I had a dream of my cat walking through a portal of light. When I woke up, I saw he was okay, but later that morning, he died. The following morning, when I woke up, I saw his spirit there, and I reached out to touch him. When I did, he vanished. So my question was if that was his way to let me know that he is okay.
Absolutely, very beautiful. Who said that? Very beautiful.
Galaxy A20. I don't have the real name.
Oh, Galaxy, very beautiful. Absolutely. So many people, they remember I said they do get dreams or they do get messages or they have beautiful visions when the animal is about to pass. whether it's actually the animal or other groups that are connecting to them to let them know. It could be whichever way. It could be, it could be the animal himself, just his soul, his spirit, or it could be from other dimensions. And yes, the beautiful experience you had of feeling that you touched him and he vanished, it is to let you know that he's fine, that he's in a dimension of light. Very beautiful. Yeah.
Virginie's asking, is there a difference between a wild animal and a pet about the time goes out the body? In French, au sujet du temps que prend la sortie du corps?
Au quoi?
Around au sujet du temps que prend la sortie du corps?
Ah, la sortie du corps. Okay. I think that with wild animals, things are much faster because there isn't that attachment to the human being, and because there's not a human being there, that they've been the relationship with a human being for such a long period of time, and the attachment and the fear of losing. But you could still have a situation where a wild animal can be very attached to another one and therefore would stay around for that other wild animal. You could have that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hélène is asking, I have so many animals, 80 or 90 hens, roosters, cats, and 3 dogs alive now. Can I find all of them on the other side? Maybe not at the same time. And people who just have the same dog over and over, will they be with just the one dog?
Oh, wow. Okay. It really depends on the relationship you have with each animal. So some animals are they come here because they live and they experience and they evolve, and therefore they have that experience, and you don't necessarily find them after when you go on the other side. And other animals, they have a specific connection with you and a specific reason to come that is linked to their evolution and your evolution. And then those you will find on the other side. So it's hard to say. It's not necessarily always the same one. There's many different forms of love and many different beings to love.
Okay, we have 2 minutes left, so maybe just a couple more questions. Kathy's asking, do your pets retain knowledge of their names and nicknames in the afterlife?
I don't think so. I mean, this is what I'm thinking, the name is going to be a frequency. It's, they're not going to remember if they call Lulu or Loulette or Minette, like the French say. All the cats are called Minette in French. So they're not going to necessarily have the name, but there's the frequency, the recognition of the being. That's enough. Yeah.
Would a deceased animal be able to warn us of things to come?
I don't really think so. But it could be, oh, there's a nice boy there. Hello. Who are you? So cute. Hello. You have to tell me his name after. He's so cute. I see his feet. So,
Oh, that's Eli.
How?
His name is Eli. Sorry,
Eli.
we thought it started at 6.
He's so cute. Late. Hi, Eli.
Eli, say hi.
No. Eli. Sorry, I interrupted. Sorry, what was the question? Now I lost my train of thought.
If a deceased animal can warn us about things to come.
Warn us. I don't think it's necessarily the deceased animal. It's going to be a group of beings on the other side that is going to warn you of certain things. That's where you're going to get that information from that group of beings. Okay? Yeah. But it could take the form of an animal, because see, the thing is, for us, it's so difficult for us to accept the fact that we are getting information from another dimension. We can also be scared, So they're going to take the form that's necessary to make it easier for us and more easy to go with, That's why they could take the form of an animal. Okay. Yeah, we could take a few more.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe Eli has a question, little boy.
Yeah.
So it's not related with the afterlife, but I am a groomer and I always wonder, are animals able to remember us from the last groom? Example, every 6 months.
Are they able to remember us from the last what?
From the last groom. She's a groomer.
Groomer?
Yeah, an animal groomer.
Yeah.
do they remember the groomer?
Oh, of course they do. Yes.
Even if it's every 6 months?
Yes, of course they do. Absolutely. Yeah.
There's more to the question here. Let me finish reading it. My colleagues have, I don't know what this word is, deadlines? Deadlines, I guess. My colleagues have deadlines to finish the groom of the animal, so they don't take the time to reassure the animal, and they are stressed because of the demands of the clients.
Yeah.
Are they in comprehension of the reality? For myself, I don't do it, and I'm not sure if it's in my mind, but I can feel their gratitude because I don't push them, which increase their fear, and they are really cooperative after I show them I'm there with them. So I guess it's about if they remember her.
Yeah, no, they would be more, I mean, I think we were talking of the grooming situation. They would be more under the stress, experiencing the stress of what's going on. They wouldn't be understanding, oh, well, this is because that person is stressed out or has this problem with her husband or with with the owner of the house or with the director of the company. You know, they're not going to get that. They're just going to perceive the stress, and the stress is going to mean a lack of safety. That's what it's going to mean. Okay. Did the little boy Elon have a question? I like answering questions for children.
Our dog just passed away,
Yes.
Ludwig von Barkey. And so we're just wondering, is he still around us, or has he reached out to us after he left to let us know anything?
He's probably still around. Yeah, I can't look into that directly like this, but he probably is still around. And you tell Eli that he's, little boy, that he's going to be fine, that not to worry, that he's having a good life. Tell it to him like that.
No, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Why do some animals not communicate with us after they pass away? My friend wanted to communicate with her animal, but she hasn't been able to.
Yeah, I know. That's really frustrating. You know, it's super frustrating. It's like some people get tons of signs and great stuff, and other people don't. And it's like, why? Why them and not me? You know, it's very frustrating. Sometimes it's just because the human being, that specific human being really, really, really needs to receive that sign. Sometimes it's just because the human being is not open enough. And sometimes it's because, let's say they've left in harmony, or there's been a euthanasia and they've left in harmony, and they don't need to. But I know the feeling. It's frustrating. Some people say, why? How come my neighbor or this person who has got all these things happening, all these signs, and I didn't get anything, you know?
Victoria asked for you to tell more about your classes.
More about my classes. In which language? Which language?
She didn't specify.
So, okay.
English.
Okay, so I'll just go over the languages. If it's French, there's there's a school. Okay, so there's regular classes every 2 weeks if it's French. For English and for Spanish, we're setting up a system online where people can buy the classes. So when the process of filming is taking a while, and we're in the process of filming it now with Enosh. So that's for English and for Spanish. Eventually, I probably will go and do some live classes online at some point. Yeah. Or maybe when things open up in LA, I might be able to do something. We'll see. Huh?
Do you want to answer more questions?
Is there a lot more questions?
There's a couple more.
Let's take a few more.
Okay, an animal that dies due to medical negligence and was very connected with its owner, does he feel confused when he transcends or sees his owner cry?
Okay, that's a very interesting question, because sometimes, sometimes medical negligence is part of the possibility to exit the body. See? So sometimes what appears as an accident, like I said earlier, or what appears as medical negligence is not really what it seems. It's the fact that the soul has to go, and so they leave the body that way. Okay? And what was the end of the question? Sorry, give me that again.
If they're confused when they see their owner cry.
No, there won't be confusion when they see. No, they understand grief. there wouldn't be confusion. There would be sadness that the person is crying, you know.
Is there anything that happened in your life that opened the channel to be able to see animal spirits around, like an event, a crisis, or personal spiritual work that you were doing?
Wow. I mean, do you want me to answer that in 5 seconds? That's like my whole life story. So, okay, to sum it up, I mean, maybe one day I'll write a book. I just can't write in English properly, so I have to get myself. I had a bunch of near-death experiences. I had extraordinary spiritual experiences with like incredible bliss. I had miraculous healings. I had a lot of things happening to me that opened me up. But as a kid, I used to see spirits. I used to see spirits of human beings, and I hated it. In Spain, I used to hear them, not see, more than see them. I used to hear, and I would tell my parents, would like, what the hell is she talking about? But yeah, there's a lot of experiences. Can't sum this up.
Okay,
But so really for everybody, everything can open you up. You know, just in the regular meditation practice, meditation, walking in nature, anything can open you up. Anything.
All right, one more question. This is an interesting question here. Wendy's asking, do they know what life they are going to have in the beginning before reincarnating? As in knowing before being born that they will be born to be a pet's baby, a pet, I guess, or knowing they will be born in captivity, wild, feral, captivity, etc.?
Very interesting question. I personally think that in most cases, yes. And now again, I don't say this is the truth, it's from what I've experienced. It really seems to me that there's some kind of a contract, if we use that word, between two souls, that animal is going to come at a specific time in someone's life and is going to transform their life, because I've really seen that. So I really think that before coming, yes, there's a knowing of what's going to happen. I would not be able to assure that in any way, but I think that the same as for human beings, they would be the same.
Okay, well, I think that concludes. Do you want to say anything else to add?
No, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming. Thank you. We will be doing more question and answers regularly. So if ever you want to be on a mailing list, just write to the, what's the name of that email already? Laila del Monte, USA, is that the one? I think. You can find it on my website. Just go on my website. If you want to be, if you're not on the mailing, you can be on it. We'll be doing more question and answers in English. There will be workshops. There will be some teaching that you'll be able to access. It's not ready yet. And when things open up, maybe there will be some classes, hopefully online at some point. And I thank you for coming. And the reason why I will be doing more questions and answers in English is because the book is not out in English, so people can get some information about all this. So close to our heart. And I wish you all the best. And thank you to Enosh.
Thank you. I'll just add. Thank you for everyone for participating. A few people came late and got the time wrong, and there will be a replay made, and we'll publish it on YouTube, and we'll send that out to you via email. So don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.